Good afternoon. From the House of Songo, this is Gaytopix, the only source for hot topics and gay news. Good afternoon. Today is Thursday, October 10th, 2019. It's Throwback Thursdays, or a show I like to call Throwback Divas. Welcome to my house. Thanks for being here. I'm your host, PAPISONGO, the only host to bring you gay and lesbian headlines and breaking news. Let's get started with my Throwback Diva of the Week. This week's Throwback Diva is very special to me because I was actually dubbed this person at one point in my life. In 2012, after winning Entertainer of the Year at the Gavin Awards, I was dubbed the Joan Crawford of porn. Because the producer, Macho Fucker, wanted me to act a certain way and do a certain thing for his movie, I was dubbed, I had to be very dramatic, and the fans and trolls, I should say, took really notice of that and disrespected me and called me the Joan Crawford of porn. However, PAPISONGO's rebuttal was, just like Joan Crawford won her Oscar in bed, I won my Gavin in bed. My award-winning scene is with Big Beef, and I was the first porn star ever to have the leading role in a movie and its sequel. Now sequels are quite popular now, but I was the first porn star to ever do that, which why I got the trophy. I should say snatched the trophy. Macho fucker knew what they was doing. I was a star. But yeah, in honor of that, title, I'm going to dedicate this Diva of the Week to the legendary and Hollywood icon, Joan Crawford. That's right, we're talking everything about Joan Crawford. Here's some things, you've heard stories and things like that about Miss Joan Crawford, but here's some things you didn't know. Let's get started with Gaytopix and on this edition of Throwback Divas. Yeah, that's better. Here are 20 things that may surprise you about Joan Crawford. The Crawford mystique. I never go outside unless I look like Joan Crawford, the movie star, said once. If you want to see the girl next door, go next door. Of course, Crawford was more than just a movie legend. So I believe her that she looked like Joan Crawford when she went outside. She wasn't as big as she looked. In movies, Joan loomed large as one of Hollywood's most formidable leading ladies, but in reality, she was only a mere 5'3", a freckle-faced redhead. She relied on hair coloring and makeup to turn her into the powerful-looking woman we see on the big screen. When she did Mommy Dearest and not Mommy Dearest, Mildred Pierce, she appeared to look much bigger than 5'3". Yeah, and speaking of Mommy Dearest, when she did Whatever Happened to Baby Jane, she looked kind of big too, so I'm not sure what happened with that. But yeah, I didn't think she was 5'3", but apparently she is. A childhood accident nearly crippled her. Crawford's original ambition was not to act, but to become a chorus girl. Even the once seemed like a long shot. After a childhood accident that required foot surgery, doctors told Crawford she'd never be able to dance and forever walk with a limp. She worked hard to prove them wrong, and in 1933, Crawford became Fred Astaire's first on-screen dance partner in the musical Dancing Lady. Wow, that's impressive. Her name didn't come cheap. When Louis B. Mayer signed a contract with the aspiring movie star in 1925, her name was Lucille LaSalle. The studio chief then devised a public contest to rename her MGM's newest contract player. The winner got $1,000 for coming up with Joan Crawford, though the movie star never warmed up to her new name. I wonder how much $1,000 in 1925 was. I bet you it was a lot of money. There was a rumor she couldn't shake. Persistent rumors that Crawford had appeared in a stag film dodged the actress her entire life. MGM's famed fixer, Eddie Minix, portrayed by Josh Brolin in the Coen brothers movie Hail Caesar, is said to have spent several years tracking down and destroying copies of Velvet Lips starring an underage Lucille LaSauer, now better known as Joan Crawford. Oh, I guess that was her porn back in the day, and like it would have probably ruined her life. Unlike Kim Kardashian, you know, she was devoted to her fans. Though many stars paid assistance to correspond with fans, Crawford wasn't one of them. Throughout her career, she personally responded to her fan mail, typing letters herself and signing them in one hand. In fact, Crawford wrote so many of these letters and signed so many of her photos through the years that her signature is considered extremely common and therefore not valuable to memorabilia collectors. Aww. But you know what? I didn't know that about her either, because I would think that because she was a rude bitch like portrayed as Mommy Dearest, you know, she would come after her fans with wire hangers instead of pens for signatures. That's the tea bitch. Crawford was married 4 times and had affairs with some of Hollywood's leading men, including Clark Gable and Spencer Tracy. There were also rumors of having affairs with women. In the tell-all Mommy Dearest, Crawford's daughter Christina writes on her mother's lesbian provocatives, and in her book Miss D and Me, Life with the Incredible Betty Davis, Davis's longtime assistant Catherine Seamock contends that Crawford had a crush on her boss despite their infamous feud. That's some tea too, bitch. Whatever happened to Crawford? Or Baby Jane? Clark Gable was in the picture a lot. Crawford and Gable's affair reportedly lasted for decades. They also co-starred in 8 movies. In 1942, when Gable's wife, Carlene Lamar, died in a plane crash, Crawford stepped in and took over Lamar's role in They All Kissed the Bride. As a gesture to Gable and his late wife, Crawford donated her salary for the movie to the American Red Cross. Aww. Her Oscar didn't come easy. The filming of the 1946 film noir classic Mildred Pierce didn't go smoothly. Betty Davis was the studio's first choice for the title role, but she turned it down. Director Michael Cortez complained bitterly when Crawford was cast, telling studio chief Jack Warner she comes over here with her high hat airs and her goddamn shoulder pads. Why would I waste my time directing a has-been? But Crawford triumphed in the end, winning a Best Actress Oscar for what's considered one of her best roles. She adopted all 4 of her children. Crawford adopted her first child, Christina, in 1940. When she was single and living in Hollywood, it was then illegal for an unwed woman to adopt a child in California, so Crawford used a baby broker in Las Vegas. She later adopted 2 girls, also without being married, and then burnt during her brief marriage to actor Philip Terry. Okay, so I want to talk to you about that. She had to get Christina. She had to go to a baby farmer. That's what they call them back then. And the person she went to was no other than Georgia Brown herself. And she went to Texas to get her. And if you watch the ID Investigation Discovery Channel, Deadly Woman, which stars Candace DeLong, a former FBI profiler, on these cases, you would know who Georgia Brown is. Georgia Brown apparently collected babies just so she can sell them to movie stars, and Joan Crawford was one of them. She also got her son Christopher the same way. That's some tea you didn't know, right? Remember, you heard it here first on Gaytopix. She wasn't the dearest mommy. Hey, her daughter Christina described Crawford as an alcoholic and child abuser in her sensational 1978 memoir Mommy Dearest, published the year after Crawford died. While some of the star's friends, including Bob Hope, Barbara Stanwyck, and Myra Loy, disputed the abuse charges, others confirmed them. Helen Hayes, Betty Hutton, Eve Arden, and others accused Crawford of being an unfit mother, largely blaming her for drinking and her alcoholism. I believe it too. How can you be a good mother if you drink? That doesn't make sense. She wasn't a clean freak. Crawford is said to have been such a germaphobe that after checking into a hotel room, she would clean the bathroom herself before using it. I used to wash my hands every 10 minutes, she once said. I couldn't step out the house unless I had gloves on. I wouldn't smoke a cigarette unless I opened the pack myself, and I would never use another cigarette out of that pack if someone else had touched it. That's deep. According to audio tapes and sessions with Marilyn Monroe's psychiatrist obtained by the Los Angeles Times, Monroe and Crawford had a one-night stand. Next time I saw Crawford, she said she wanted another round. Marilyn is her telling her therapist. I told her straight out that I didn't enjoy doing it with a woman. After I turned her down, she became very spiteful, Marilyn is said to say. Wow. She was a lesbian, sleeping with the best, too. Joan and Marilyn. That's a hot movie. The House of Songo probably bring it to you, too. Let me get the right actors. I'll do it. The feud with Betty Davis was no joke. Davis actually kicked Crawford in the head while they were filming the 1962 psychological thriller Whatever Happened to Baby Jane. Aware that Davis had a bad back, Crawford filled her own pockets with weights before they filmed a scene in which Davis had to drag her across the floor. It's proper to say that they really devastated each other, and the movie's director Robert Adrian had said, they hated each other because they wanted to be each other. And every movie Betty turned down, Joan took. And every movie Joan turned down, Betty took. So they had to do it. And as I first reported on Jane Mansfield, she was dubbed the second Marilyn Monroe. So every role Marilyn turned down, Jane took it. And every role Jane turned down, Marilyn took it. It's no wonder they had copies and that there was no original, you know. She sabotaged Baby Jane. Crawford and Davis accepted lower salaries in exchange for a piece of the movie's profits. Still, Crawford refused to appear with Davis on a publicity tour. She then lobbied against Davis winning an Oscar for the film. Even though she would have benefited financially from a Davis win, to really stick it to her co-star Crawford reached out to the other Best Actress nominees and offered to accept the award on behalf if they couldn't make it to the ceremony. When an absent Anne Bancroft beat Davis, it was Crawford who appeared on stage with an Oscar in hand. We knew that because that was in the movie Feud. She switched from Coke to Pepsi. Back in 1933, Crawford appeared in an ad for Coca-Cola, but in 1955, allegiance shifted when she married Pepsi-Cola chairman and CEO Alfred Steele. He died just 4 years later, but Crawford refused to give up her $60,000 a year seat on the Pepsi board, holding it until 1973. Steele's death nearly ruined Crawford financially, as she had borrowed large sums of money from the company, money that Crawford had to pay back herself and couldn't. When her 28-year-old daughter Christina was recovering from surgery in 1968, Crawford stood in her for 4 episodes on a daytime soap opera, The Secret Storm. The novelty of her standing in for her young daughter helped viewership to spike. Crawford volunteered to take on for the role for free if necessary because I didn't want them to give them part of someone else. Sadly, she didn't take the role. In retirement, Crawford became a Christian Scientist and spent her final years in seclusion at her New York apartment. Because the faith doesn't allow medical interference with God's will, Crawford refused any aggression form of treatment to fight the cancer that eventually killed her in 1977. 2 days before she died, Crawford gave away her beloved dog, a Shih Tzu named Princess Lotus Blossom. She also started giving away her personal belongings. This led to believe that Crawford might have committed suicide by taking an overdose or sleeping pills. An autopsy was not performed, and a death certificate attributes the star death to a heart attack. They always say it's a heart attack when they don't know what did it, or they want to keep it a secret. She left her money to charity. The bulk of Crawford's $2 million estate went to her favorite charities, including the USO, the Motion Picture Home, and the American Cancer Society. Her 2 youngest children, Cindy and Kathy, received $75,500 each. Her 2 eldest children received nothing. It is not my intention to make no provision herein for my son Christopher or my daughter Christina for reasons which are well known to them. The will read. And as we all well know, Christina didn't get any money, which is why she came out with the book. But that's my edition of Throwback Divas. I'm your host, PAPISONGO. I think Joan Crawford is a legend. PAPISONGO is a legend and will always be a legend. So with that, remember, you're always in the mix with Gaytopix. Stay tuned tomorrow for Cliffhanger Fridays as we talk about everything about the gay adult porn industry. You don't want to miss what I got to say. Stay tuned for Cliffhanger Fridays. I'm your host, PAPISONGO. Thank you for being here. Please subscribe to my channel. I love you all. Have a blessed day. Stay tuned tomorrow for Cliffhanger Fridays. My cliffhangers make you gag all weekend. Yes, we're talking everything gay adult porn industry. Gay actors, gay drama, gay gossip, gay whatever. Who's fucking who's having sex with who. You don't want to miss it. That's my Cliffhanger Fridays. Tomorrow live at 3 p.m. Until then, you're always in the mix with Gaytopix.